Welcome back. I am Nikki the Great coming at you again with another message. And in this one, we are going to be talking about dream interpretations. We're going to be talking about dream interpretations. If you have not already, please subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you can be made aware of any new videos that I post. Before I even get started, I want you to keep 3 things in mind when I go on to explain some really important key points, okay? When you have a dream, I want you to do 3 things. Keep these things in mind. Number 1, I want you to ask God what they mean. Ask God what they mean. Sometimes it's easy to forget a dream once you've had it. But that next morning, or out of your nap or your rest, or when you wake up in the morning, you need to ask God what that means. And you want to verbalize the dream to yourself. This just happened to me in my dream. You need to remember these dreams, okay? So as soon as upon rising, verbally say it out loud to yourself what happened in the dream. It'll help you to remember it because you need to think about what's going on in the dream and ask God, okay? Number 2, do not ignore the dream. Don't ever brush the dream off and say to yourself, oh, I probably ate too much before I laid down. It probably doesn't mean anything. Or, oh, I'm just bugging. Don't ever ignore dreams, okay? Dreams are it's a communication from God that He has with us in our dreams. God comes to us in our dreams. Number 3, a dream is a glimpse into the spirit world. Remember these things. A dream is a glimpse into the spirit world. Let's talk about water. Let's talk about when you are having a dream and there is water. When I say water, I'm talking about rains, I'm talking about an ocean, I'm talking about a flood, I'm talking about a river, a lake, a pond, any body of water. That means something, okay? And I have had my own dreams where there is water involved. Not all the time, but every now and again throughout the years as I'm recalling dreams, water has been a common denominator in not just my own dreams, but other dreams that people share with me, okay? And if you want to go on ahead and share your dreams in the comment section below, go on ahead and do that and let's chat, okay? But I want to talk about a few things concerning water that you need to keep in mind, okay? Number 1, the representation of water can mean a purification. It can mean a washing, okay? But aside from a purification and a washing, water can also have an interpretation of death, of being drowned, all right? So keep those things in mind. Also, there is an interpretation of water meaning an abyss of the unknown. Okay, an abyss of the unknown. I'm going to give you a personal dream of mine, maybe a couple of them. We'll see where this goes. But there was a dream that I would constantly have all the time several years ago. And in this dream, let me go ahead and tell you where I was in life during this dream that I was having. I was coming out of the world, trying to get back into church, and I was doing that whole the reformation of my life, cleaning up my life, coming to God. So that was the part I was at in my life, right? And for several dreams, I had the same thing of water and me being in a large vessel. I'm not sure if it was, I think it was more like a spaceship. And I was in a spaceship and the rains were coming and it ended up the spaceship being underwater, but because it happened so fast, I was inside of a bubble, like an air pocket. And as I was in this bubble, in this spaceship that was exposed to like this sea of water, the spaceship would kind of rock back and forth. And all I could do was hang on to the spaceship as it rocked back and forth in my little air bubble. And even though at the time I didn't understand what the nature of the dream was or why I kept having it over and over again, as I recall it, I now know that God was telling me I was going through a purification. I was going through a washing. I was going through a cleansing. And no matter how violent and how harsh the washing might seem, God was going to provide an air pocket for me. All I needed to do, Jesus, all I needed to do was hang on and go through the washing and the cleansing. All right. That's the first one. I'm going to try not to get in my feelings. That's the first one about water. Water to me is a representation of washing, of cleansing. All right. And it also represents, again, an abyss of the unknown. Okay. The abyss of the unknown. Number two is if you have a dream where you are being chased, that means something. That means something. Let's think about it for a second. If you have a dream that you are being chased, what are you being chased by? Are you just running and you don't see anybody behind you? Are you being chased by an animal? Are you being chased by a person? Are you just running because you're scared? If you're running or you're being chased, that means something, okay? And again, let me give you another personal dream that I had. Again, this dream comes from the same era in my life, coming back to God. I had this dream maybe 1,000 times, and it was always the same outcome in the dream. In the dream, I'm running from a black dog with red eyes. And let me tell you, I am booking it. I am running as fast as I can. I can barely breathe. I'm running so hard. And every time I try to look to see if I've gained any headway over this black dog with bright red eyes, he's always like this far from my heels. And in the dream, I'm just running and running and running and running and running. And then I'd wake up. And I had this dream a zillion times. And when I would wake up, I would be so scared because I saw this thing. And he was ferocious. He was like a wolf and he was slobbering. His teeth were exposed. And in this dream, he was on me like white on rice. And your girl was running. Again, as I reflect back on it, it was the enemy. He was running from me. Or he was running behind me. Running after me to catch me. And in the dream, God was telling me to continue doing what I was doing, to keep running towards him, right? While the enemy, our adversary, was right on my heels. And that's exactly what was going on in the spirit realm with me at the time. I was being chased by darkness, and I continued running. And I can stand before you, today as a living testimony. He never caught me. If you are having a dream like that, where you are running from something scary, if you are running from someone scary, I want to encourage you to keep running. It's never going to catch you in the name of Jesus. I want you to think about where you're at in life and how God is attempting to communicate with you. Let's go to the next thing. Let's talk about animals and creatures. Animals and creatures. Animals and creatures. When I say creatures, I mean the bug kingdom. So I'm taking the animal kingdom as well as the bug kingdom, and specific to like spiders, ants, roaches, snails, anything creepy, crawly, slimy, worms, anything creepy, crawly. When I say animals, I mean them as well, okay? I want you to think about in your dreams what type of animal it is. What type of animal it is. These animals have representations. They mean certain things. Like I'm going to give you an example. Usually if you have a dream of an elephant is a majestic creature. It means something good. If you have a dream of a butterfly, okay, a butterfly is an insect, it usually means something good. If you have a dream of a caterpillar, it means something good. Even if you have a dream of an ant, it means something good. I've had dreams of marine fish, like a dolphin or something, or a whale. It means something good. Now, if you have a dream of something like a blood sucking, like a leech, if that doesn't mean that doesn't mean something good. That means something bad. Okay, let me go ahead and give you another. Let me tell you, I'm the queen of dreams over here. God's always relaying information to me in my dreams. Let me go ahead and share this with you. And allow this to be the opportunity for me to be perfectly transparent with you, okay? I had a dream, and this was probably a couple months ago, so it was fairly recent. I don't have dreams as often as I used to, but when I do have them, I know they mean something. So in the dream, I'm talking to people, but I'm having a hard time pronouncing my words in the dream. I'm having a hard time with my articulation. I feel like there's something in my mouth. And I was, excuse me, I'm not trying to be vulgar, but I was spitting in the dream. Like spitting. Because I felt like there was something in my mouth, but no matter how much spitting I did, I couldn't clear my mouth out. It felt like it was full of something, right? And so then I reached inside my mouth to pull out the object that I felt like that was in there that was prohibiting me from speaking, but there was nothing there. So I continued speaking, but I was having problems until I looked into the mirror underneath my tongue, and I had a bunch of creatures underneath my tongue. They were the mixture of a snail and a leech. A snail and a leech. I had hundreds of them. Well, at first I just had one. So I pulled it, and it was really stuck onto the bottom of my tongue. I pulled it and I threw it. And I continued to try to talk, but there was more blockage. So I looked again in the mirror under my tongue, and I had hundreds of these little snail / like leeches under my tongue. So I sat there and I spent so much time pulling all of them out of my mouth. And when I woke up out of the dream, I was completely flabbergasted because I knew there was something within me that I needed to get out, but I didn't know what those leeches and snails represented. I was confused. So you know what I did? What do you think I did? I asked God, what does that mean? Lord, I had this dream of these little insects, these blood-sucking snails under my tongue, and they were preventing me from speaking. What do you think God said to me? This hurt my feelings, but it was true. It was true. God said that those snails, those creatures that were under my tongue, was me gossiping and talking bad about people. You see, as I'm using my voice now to communicate, to minister to you, I have to have a clear tongue. I can't be acting a certain kind of way on the screen, and then behind closed doors, I'm running my mouth and talking bad about people, right? And so God was relaying that information to me in my heart that I needed to work on killing people with my tongue. You see what I'm saying? Your tongue is sharper than a two-edged sword. And just because that person that I was talking about, or those people that I was talking about, just because they couldn't hear me doesn't mean that I wasn't killing them. I am so glad that God gave me that dream to show me, to bring it to my attention, because I'm not going to lie to you, like that scared me. It scared me so bad, so that ever since then, I am very cautious in what I say. If I'm talking about somebody to someone, it's because it's a situation and I'm trying to gauge an understanding, or I'm trying to get some type of clarification, or I'm asking for advice, or I'm trying to find out what is going on. And no more am I just going to be, leisurely talking about people just because for my own entertainment. Those days are long done. And at times when I find myself trying to go there, God quickly shuts me up, and I ask God verbally out loud forgiveness. Lord, I'm sorry. Lord, I ask you for forgiveness. I can admit, like a couple weeks ago, I was talking to a coworker of mine and something slipped, and instantly I felt convicted. And you know what I did? I said, Lord, I'm sorry. I repent. I apologize. Do you think I did that in my mind? No, I did that out loud so that the person that heard me, that I was gossiping with, can know that, hey, that's something that I'm working on. Help me not to do that. And so it's a process that I am going through. And again, I'm being transparent. It's a process that I'm going through because I don't want to have the bad spirits within my mouth. Okay, let's continue. I went down a little rabbit hole. Again, animals and bugs represent different things, okay? So those little things represented spirits that I had in my mouth, unclean spirits I had in my mouth, and I couldn't do what I was called to do, to use my mouth to minister, if I had those bad spirits within me. So in the dream, I was pulling them out. And now that I am aware consciously of what is going on, I go out of my way to not run my mouth and to not allow bad spirits within me, okay? If you're ever, again, I know I talk a lot about purpose, but we're not going to be able to fulfill the purpose that God has for us if we have an infestation of bad spirits or a bad spirit, okay? So in this dream interpretation, when God is showing things to us, we need to use our wisdom and take heed to what he's saying and respect the fact that we need to grow, okay? In order for us to grow, God has to show us things, and we need to respect the things that he is showing to us, not ignore them. All right. And let's talk about our last point. Demons and devils are represented in the creature kingdom. Demons and devils are represented in the creature kingdom in reference to dreams. I hate to keep sharing my personal dreams, but I like to share them even though you didn't ask for them. I had a new person come into my life. And I'm a social butterfly. I'm an extreme extrovert. I love people. I love talking. I love just interacting with people. I love it, love it, love it. But throughout the years, God has dealt with me when it comes to being so open with people. So nowadays, I'm still a social butterfly, but I kind of keep people at a distance now just so that I can gauge them, hear the Holy Spirit, and I have to get his permission to let people in my personal life. Okay. So with that, and you should do the same as well, be really careful in who you bring into your circle. So anyways, any person, either male, female, co-worker, neighbor, anybody, I try to pray about it before I bring them into like my world and try to see, where they are coming from, because our adversary, the devil, sends people our way, counterfeits. He sends distractions our way, and we need to constantly be prayed up. So anyways, going on with the dream that I had, a new person had come into my life, and I had been praying about this person. Like, I don't know about, what this person's got going on. And I was left feeling some kind of way, but I didn't know. So you know what God did? He came to me in a dream. And this dream is like, it's a little like, I want to use the word distressing, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you anyways. So I'm asleep in this dream, and there's like a clawing at my front door, and it wakes me out of my sleep in the dream. And the clawing and the breaking, and the thing was like pushing in my door, the thing on the other side of the door. And so by the time I get up, I had go to the door, and I had a bat, or I had a club or something in my hand, and there was a creature that had his, I'm thinking it's a him, I don't know, it had his claws inside the door trying to break my deadbolt to the door. And so while it's trying to break in my home, I'm pushing up against it, trying to, restrict it access into my living room area. So the creature and I, the devil and I, are back and forth, and it's trying to get into my home. And lo and behold, it breaks the door. It's in my living room. So I pick up the bat or the club, and I'm going to town on this thing. And mind you, it's a fairly short, it's like a little foot demon. So I'm going to town on this thing, just beating it and beating it and beating it. So finally it's unconscious, and I kick it out the front door, and I close the door, and then I wake up in the dream. And I was so distraught in the dream, I was just beating my head, because I knew that little creature, that little gremlin, whatever you want to call it, it represented something, but I didn't know what it represented or who it represented. So what do you think I did? What do you think? I told God about it. Lord, I had this dream. I went through all the details the same way I just did with you in this dream. Lord, what does this dream mean? You know what he said to me? He didn't say anything to me this time. So I went to meet up with a friend of mine, and I was telling her about the dream, and I was telling her, all the ins and outs and how distraught, and she was distraught too. And she looked at me and she said, what has been new in your life? What have you done? I said to her, I haven't done anything. And so I told her, well, I did meet somebody. And she was like, that is that person. I was like, you know what? I'm going to pray about it. And I did. I said, Lord, I believe this is this. This person, this new person that has come into my life, it represents this gremlin. And then when I said that, I felt closure. I felt relief in my spirit. I knew that was it. So you know what I did in return when I found out what that gremlin represented? Yo, that person had to go. That person had to go with the quickness. That person had to go with the quickness. Listen, I want you to take home 3 things about what I just said. I'm repeating them. Number 1, always ask God what they mean and verbalize it to him, okay? Number 2, do not ignore them. And number 3, remember that dreams are a reflection into the spirit world. Dreams are what God uses sometimes to communicate with us. I am Nikki the Great, and together we are growing, sharing, and thriving.